Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim Watson speaking on Friday the 3rd of May. So starting off looking at the euro dollar, and well, we've got a lovely daily pivot swing in there. Our room members, some of them will be short from the Fed meeting, and well, we're looking down to 11.20 now. I still don't expect this to happen too quickly. It's moving down quite nicely at the moment, and it certainly looks like it could be on at some point, but there's, in terms of moving into a trade on this, may not be quite so easy. In fact, I'm just going to come to a clean chart here for a moment. Just the pivots on there. What I'm looking at here, there is a daily pivot above which may draw price, but at the moment it looks like it's just running straight off to the daily S1. Yesterday it did pick up and maybe give an opportunity, although it looked like it's going to put a higher, well, it had put a higher low in at that point, but it has rolled since and looking in shape for the downside. But to try and get into that is, well, may do on an intraday, short-term time frame, post 8 o'clock. We'll just see what happens, but I believe it's still got further downside there. The pound dollar. Let's take a picture from the big picture here first, and you can see it's similar-ish pattern in terms of, but not quite as bearish, and it may be rolling a little bit this morning. The data that came out yesterday from the central bank suggesting there's one more interest rate by 2021. I love the way they look so forward with a 0.25%. They used to look at that in months in the past. Now it's in years. Anyway, so it's a bit Brexit dependent, of course, but it certainly wasn't a dovish, like similar to the Fed. There it wasn't dovish at all. It was, let's have a look at what the numbers come out like. Growth not particularly fast in the UK, but it's not contraction either. There is growth at the moment, at least. Looking at this 240, it does look like if it breaks at the prior lows there, it could be on for a bit more of a correction, and it's just come down to the 60-minute there, and looking daily S1 at 1.307, somewhere in that region. It may be a little bit higher. I'll just need to check. I've got to readjust my pivots on here, so 1306. Okay, so it's the same place. So somewhere in that region, that 200 may be a sort of target to the downside on this. Moving rather quickly at the moment for whatever reason. There's nothing particularly news-wise that's clear here, but there we are. Maybe stock prices moving around there might open. Okay, dollar yen, not much to be done on that. I'm not even going to look at it beyond that. Talking about it, because I'll throw in another currency this morning. Aussie dollar, actually, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar continuing on this soft patch. Let's just come into a dailies here and look at what's going on. And well, continuing this in this weak mode at the moment, could head off down. I mean, you're just looking sort of natural steps. Monthly S1s are pretty good targets. And that's where it seems to be heading at the moment. The weekly S1 just there below there as well. So round about that 69.70 areas, it would be, or 60 area would be target to the downside. Trying to get into that now is probably quite difficult as well. It's through the Asian session there. It's run into. I'm looking at a 30-minute chart here. It doesn't matter. 30-minute, 34. It's got some scope to roll, I guess, some more, but it may be difficult to jump in. Canadian dollar, do I want to look at that? Let's have a look what's happening. Not massively. Well, it's got some, actually I looked at it on a daily point of view, and it has got scope for continuation. If you're happier to sit with probably a wider stop towards that 35.17 area, it still looks like it could pitch up that way. Bullish flag at the moment. It's sitting in on this sort of 4-hourly time frame. It's got a higher low sitting in there, and that sort of 135.12. Looking across here, it's just really, if it can break out this morning, when you come down to the 30-minute chart, solid trend line, I would leave it alone unless it can break above that solidly, and maybe chuck a closing above that, just to clarify things, and then you've got a reasonable bit of distance there, but maybe an over the weekend trade. So we sit there. Let's have a look at the pound yen. Different pairing here. Don't talk about these crosses too much, but I was looking at this morning. This may have a little bit of a chance of a bit of downside. The pound is selling off there, out there in the markets. The yen staying pretty stable, and it may just look like it's going to roll. I know we have a lot of traders that do trade the pound yen. It may have already broken for this morning. That's the only thing here. I was looking at a trend across this sort of level here, where it's come up a little bit short of the daily, but broken a little bit earlier, which with the yen it occurs sometimes. Can just break off a little bit, and it seems like seeing it break down anyway, the pound against the dollar and everything else at the moment. So and the euro's pulling south as well at the moment. So these may be an opportunity there for retracements. Target wise, well, the 200 may be a bit close, but there's certainly the S1 below that 145 area. Okie dokie, that's pretty much it. News wise today, of course, we've got non-farms kicking in today, he says, because that's the only one I can remember that we've got today. We have got UK services PMI at 9:30, which I'm amazed that, again, it's been downgraded in terms of its ratings on the Forex Factory, but it's still a key number. Volatility around a lot of news at the moment has reduced, admittedly, but it's still one of the most important data numbers coming out for the pound. As I say, 1:30 we've got non-farms. That's been a damp squid. That's been not particularly great of late. Squib it is, it's not a squid. Anyway, just get that right. It's not been the best of trades for quite some time. In fact, I don't think we've had a trade off at least 2 months when I've been in our trading room. So I'm not holding the breath on that one, but we'll see. The employment is pretty good in the US, according to the numbers. I'll say maybe different if you live there, but the numbers that they show, and they're not changing significantly. So it's not making big moves at the moment. So, but that's at 1:30 regardless. At 3 o'clock we got the services PMI, or non-manufacturing PMI, for the US as well. So that may get a bit of a move there. Ironically, they put that as a red as opposed to an orange, and that should be an orange and the other one red. But there we are. Have a great day on that note, and have a great weekend. I'll be back Monday. Bye for now.